is a far-right organization trying to protect Jews from assimilation. They're on very shaky ground, in my opinion.
This group, Lava, the dangerous time is when small groups are walking around and want to find Arab people to attack them.
And of course, Lahava are using the current issues to justify their actions.
Some people have said that members of your group may harass Arab residents.
אנחנו נמצאים פה בשביל להסביר לבנות שלא ילכו עם ערבים ובשביל לשמור שהערבים לא יתחילו עם הבנות שלנו. אנחנו לא פועלים באלימות. כל יום דוקרים פה יהודים. אנחנו שומרים שהיהודים לא יפחדו.
It became really dangerous to be an Arab man or woman in this center city. We decided to be here to make sure that nothing really bad is happening.
So there we have a left-wing Jew apologizing for the actions of a right-wing Jewish brother. And frankly, I'm not happy about the right wing, but let's be perfectly frank here. There are dreadful atrocities being propagated against Jews and the Israeli Defense Force every day. Look at this, actually at the gate of the old city. And you wonder what brings a guy, an Arab, to a point where he feels he has to make that move. Well, he's probably watching this.
لحلق يا خيا هالشنب وما في نخوة ومرجلة إن ما خذت بالدار وانهيت بشرى المسألة احنا رجال الضبطة
When we're talking about Palestinian incitement, this is what we're talking about.
يطعنا لجلك يما يطعنا لجلك خيا يطلع القلب عن عظمه وادخل فيها باب الجنة.
The message is clear. Attack the Jew and your place is guaranteed in heaven. But not every Arab feels this way. This is an Israeli Arab reporter.
חלק ממנהיגי הערבים פשוט קמים, אור השתיקה שלהם כל כך רועמת ומזעזעת. לא מנסים להשתיק את הרוחות, לא מנסים לפעול להבנה והכלה של הצד האחר. מלבים את האווירה עוד יותר, ובמקום לבוא ולהגיד, חברים, כשכל זה יירגע, הרי אנחנו נשלם מחיר כל כך יקר. האינתיפאדה השנייה הרי גבתה מחיר כל כך גדול מערביי ישראל, והן מהפלסטינים.
ראית את ראש עיריית נצרת? ראית את ראש עיריית נצרת?
לא לומדים מהטעויות.
Listen to her frustration, and she's an Arab.
סטטוס קוו באל-אקצא הופר. עדיין זה מרשה למישהו או נותן לגיטימציה למישהו לקום ולרצוח מישהו אחר בגלל מקום קדוש או בגלל דת או בגלל שחלילה בן אדם יהודי עלה להתפלל בבית האלוהים? אני כאילו לא מבינה את זה ולא מעכלת את זה. למה בגלל אלוהים, איזה אלוהים אנשים מדברים איתי עליו, שרוצה או מרשה שהילדים יצאו וירצחו אנשים חפים מפשע.
So it can't have escaped your notice that Israel is the subject of a disgraceful anti-Semitic act, the boycott divestment campaign. And this has seen universities in Israel attacked in US, UK, Italy, here in Australia, in Sydney, and across the world. But it's not just education. Movies are boycotted in Norway. And also the banks of Israel are boycotted in Denmark and Sweden. Even music doesn't escape where there are boycotts there too. But in Britain, we now have some extraordinary light at the end of the tunnel, as the government have instructed public bodies not to boycott. So for once the British government have got it right. Wake up, Australian government, follow their lead, and let's kick this boycott divestment campaign into touch and embrace all that Israel has to offer.
We brought chocolate from Hebron, from Alechever, to the Dam Square in the central of Amsterdam, and we gave people to taste it, and then we told them that this is coming from the West Bank, from Judea and Samaria, and their government is boycotting this chocolate, and we asked them what they think.
What a great Jewish businessman this is. He's tackling the boycotters in their own backyard.
This chocolate is made in the West Bank in Israel. The European Union have decided to label these products now to say made in Judea Samaria.
This massive solar tower will provide around 1% of Israel's electricity, according to an agreement with the Israeli government.
At peak power, we're producing 121 megawatts. It's about 1% of the electricity required in Israel at peak. And it provides energy for about 120,000 homes at that time.
Israel's aiming to fulfill 10% of the country's energy needs with renewables by 2020. The new energy plant will help reach that goal and should be fully built by late next year at a cost of over $770 million.
So in a world racked with climate change issues, using Israeli technology and $54 billion, we could power the entire consumption needs of every household here in Australia. Get on with it!
I am not a creature from another planet. I am a Jerusalemite. I have a few things to get off my chest. Because I am not a diplomat, I do not have to mince words. I do not have to please you. I owe you nothing. You did not build this city. You did not live in it. You did not defend it when they came to destroy it. And we will be damned if we will let you take it away. There was a Jerusalem before there was a New York. When Berlin, Moscow, London, and Paris were forest and swamp, there was a thriving Jewish community here. It gave something to the world. A humane, moral code. Here the prophets walked, their words flashing like forked lightning. Here are people who wanted nothing more than to be left alone, fought and died on the battlements, and finally led away into captivity, swore that before they forgot Jerusalem, they would see their tongues cleave to their palates, their right arms wither. For 2 pain-filled millennia we pray daily to return to this city. On every Yom Kippur and Passover we fervently voice the hope that next year would find us in Jerusalem. Your inquisitions, pogroms, expulsions, the ghettos into which you jammed us, your forced baptisms, your genteel anti-Semitism, and the final unspeakable horror, the Holocaust, and worse, your terrifying disinterest in it. All these have not broken us. Do you think that you can break us now? I have watched this city bombarded twice by nations calling themselves civilized. In 1948, while you looked on apathetically, I saw women and children blown to smithereens after we agreed to your request to internationalize the city and the savage sacking of the old city, the willful slaughter, the wanton destruction of every synagogue and religious school, the desecration of Jewish cemeteries, the sale by a ghoulish government of tombstones for building materials, army camps, even latrines. And you never said a word. You never breathed the slightest protest when the Jordanians shut off the holiest of our places, the Western Wall. Not a murmur came from you whenever the legionnaires opened fire upon our citizens from behind the walls. And 20 years later, when the Arabs unleashed a savage, unprovoked bombardment of the holy city again, did any of you do anything? The only time you came to life was when the city was at last reunited. Then you wrung your hands and spoke loftily of justice and the need for turning the other cheek. For the first time since the year 70, there is now complete religious freedom for all in Jerusalem. For the first time since the Romans put a torch to the temple, everyone has equal rights. We loathe the sword, but it was you who forced us to take it up. We crave peace, but we are not going back to the peace of 1948 as you would like us to. We are home. It has a lovely sound for a nation you have willed to wander over the face of the globe. We are not leaving. We are redeeming the pledge made by our forefathers. Jerusalem is being rebuilt next year, and the year after, and after, and after, until the end of time. In Jerusalem.